All right, so by now you should have finished part one, which is the first 5 words. You should have your definitions, you should have watched the video with the questions, and you should have done your matching activities. Okay, so now this is part two. You should have your definitions written down. We're watching this video and answering questions. We'll have more practice activities, and then we'll be ready for your exit ticket. So our first word is House of Representatives. The number of reps is determined by the population of each of the states. There are 435 in total. They serve 2 years each term and are elected directly by those from their congressional district. So the House of Representatives is one part of Congress, right? Which is basically the legislative branch, which makes the laws. Okay, so these people are elected, right? So they have to be voted on. And the number of reps that each state gets is based on the population. So if you're a big state, you're going to have more representatives. If you're a small state, you'll have less representatives. So it wouldn't be fair for a small, teeny tiny state like Rhode Island to have the same amount of representation as a big old state like Texas. All right, so this was one of the ways that they would compromise or balance each other, right? So to have like an equal or fair type of representation. So these people are split into congressional districts, so just how like LAUSD is a school district, right? And there's different school districts, right? Cities are separated into different districts as well, where that congressional person or house of representative, speaks for those neighborhoods, right? So they kind of split it up that way. Right, your next word is delegate. So these are the people chosen to represent others at a government body. So here we have a picture of like this one person representing the ones around it, right? So in the time period that we're studying, the delegates were, for example, the people that were trusted to put together the Constitution, right? I wouldn't say that they were elected, right? But they are representing the 13 colonies and drafting what became our Constitution and our government, right? And then, when they first met, they each sent a representative from the colonies to meet to complain about King George. And so that was also like a delegate, right? Because they're a representative and they were responsible or trusted to draft the Declaration of Independence. So those would be some examples of like delegates during this time. And then, and so today, if I send a person from our class to go represent us in a meeting, right, they would be our delegate. Okay, our next word is the Supreme Court. This is the highest court in the nation, and it consists of 9 justices who serve for life. Once they are in, they are not removed until they die. Okay, these people decide if a law follows the Constitution. Right, so this is like the ultimate top, like once they make a decision, it's final. One thing about them is that they're not going to decide on a case, right? What they're deciding is if the law that pertains to the case is constitutional. Does this follow the Constitution or does this break the Constitution, right? When it breaks the Constitution, we say it's unconstitutional. So like a famous case that made it all the way to the Supreme Court was like the Board of Education, right? And whether schools should be segregated or not, right? Because they were like separate but equal. So they decided no, separate is not equal. So they had to desegregate the schools. There have been a lot of important Supreme Court cases. Another one would be like gay marriage, right? Is that constitutional or not? Does that law, like certain states would allow it, certain states would not. And so it went all the way to the Supreme Court to see if it follows the Constitution or if it violates people's rights, right? The Senate. So Senate is the other part of Congress that works together with the House of Reps. And for this one, each state has 2 senators. Senators serve 6 years each term, and they are elected directly by the people from their state. So there's 50 states, so you have 100 members. So they are part of the branch that is responsible for writing laws. Okay. And veto. This is when the president rejects a law that is passed by Congress. So this is one of the powers that he has. He can veto, reject, or deny a law. And if he does this, Congress has to go back and fix it or try again. And so this is one of the very famous, not famous, but like one of the powers that the executive branch or the president has. That's an example of checks and balance, right? So Congress cannot just pass any law they wish, because if the president vetoes it, then it won't pass. Okay, and this is the end of your words.